Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
HitThatLine.com.
You want answers.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on now, Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown. How about that Heisman, Mark Jones? How do you like it? Open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Welcome into Halftime on a Monday, and before we go any further, we are here to bring you exactly what you want to hear. Athletic Director of University of Arkansas, Hunter Yurachek, is at the podium. He is speaking right now, and our John Neighbors is up there in Fayetteville. So let's go to Hunter Yurachek in the press conference announcing the change in leadership at Arkansas football.
Thank you. It's been a tough couple of days for myself and all associated with the Razorback football program. I made a decision that there needed to be a change in the leadership of our program, and I want to thank Chancellor Steinmetz, President Bobbitt, Chairman Goodson, and the System Board of Trustees for their support of that decision. I do firmly and confidently believe it was the best professional decision and the best decision for our Razorback football program at this time. What makes it really challenging for someone that sits in my chair is the personal impact that I know my decision has and will have on the men and women that work in our football program right now, their spouses and their children and their families, and the impact that I know this decision has on them. I thought our football program had taken some steps backwards in the past few weeks. I had one goal for our football program, one main goal for our football program as we headed into this season. It was a simple goal. I wanted us to be competitive game in and game out. Not to win the Southeastern Conference, but to be competitive game in and game out. And I think that was clear over the past couple of weeks that we were no longer competitive. And a big thing about that is our student athletes. Those 120 men worked their tails off for 9 months to have the reward and the opportunity to put on that uniform on 12 Saturdays during the fall. And that should be a rewarding experience for them. That should be something that they enjoy. And as I spent time with our student athletes before, during, and after games, I got the sense that they were no longer enjoying that experience on Saturdays. And our focus of our Department of Athletics day in and day out is on the success of our student athletes, all 465 of those student athletes. And we had 120 student athletes within our football program that were no longer experiencing the success I thought they needed to experience. Barry Lunney's a former student athlete. He's a Razorback through and through. When I called him yesterday morning and told him the decision I'd made with the change in the leadership, and I asked Barry to step up, and I asked Barry under very tough circumstances to take on the leadership of our football program. And without pause, he told me yes. I know I will get Barry's best during the next 3 weeks because he loves his football program, he loves this university, he loves this state, and he's invested in what we're trying to do. And I know he truly loves the 120 men that he's now leading within our football program. As I begin this search, I have no doubt that we will have a very strong candidate pool for this head coaching position. Why do I believe that? First, we are the University of Arkansas. We have a very proud and storied tradition within our football program that includes 42 bowl games, a national championship, 13 conference championships, multiple All-Americans and Hall of Fame inductees. We have and we offer our student athletes some of the best facilities in the country. We compete in the Southeastern Conference, and we have a passionate fan base that so desperately wants for this program to be successful. We've had many of our athletic programs currently that are competing on a national level in winning national championships within our athletic department. Our football program can be one of those programs.
Well, first of all, I want to say thanks to Hunter for the opportunity and the belief that he had in me to be able to be the guy to step in. As he said, they're under very difficult circumstances. There's other guys on our staff that he's given me. I obviously would be remiss without thanking Chad for 2 years ago when he came in and transitioned from our staff from Brett Bielema to think enough of me to be able to keep me and to be a part of this program and school that means so much to me and my family. So I'm be very always grateful for that from Coach Morris. I couldn't help but to think and get a chuckle today as I was thinking about the press conference today, to think about 27 years ago. As a football player here, I was kind of thrust into a similar situation. And for those that, weren't around during that time, I know, Bob and Mike and Otis and Nate, and I may be missing a few other guys. When Joe Kynes so famously took over as the interim coach in 1992 at his press conference, he was asked about being the interim, and he quipped, "We're all interim." And I think he said it best. At that point in time, his attitude was, one that was incredible to watch as a player, to watch him step in during that time. We had just come off a loss to the Citadel, which obviously was a black guy on our program, and we didn't even know who the coach was going to be at that point in time as players. We experienced all the range of emotions that our guys are going through right now, the confusion, the disappointment, anger, happy, sad, mad, whatever they are, all those range of emotions are on our football team right now. I experienced those same feelings, and as I was telling the players last night, I learned and I saw firsthand what it looked like for a guy that was appointed as an interim coach to come in and to right the ship and to breathe life into our football players. And a little bit of a different circumstance because he had, basically the bulk of the year. But as I told our players last night, and make no mistake about it, this is all about our players. This is all it's about. It's about giving them their best opportunity to succeed these last couple of weeks. It's all about them. And as I told them last night, one of the things that I gleaned from that experience was whether you were a senior on that football team in 1992 or a freshman, man, there were some good things that came out of that. Those seniors that were a part of that team in 92 that went on the road to play Tennessee and beat them when they were 6-0, number 4 in the country, 27 years later, still people talk about that game to those people that are part of being seniors on that football team. And the freshman class that was a part of that team, as we all know, the same team that lost their head football coach, they stuck together, they weathered the storm, and 4 years later, that same team was the bulk of the team that went to the SEC championship game. So I used that as an experience last night to relate to these players, to help them understand I know what they're going through. And so because of all those circumstances, the things I've gone through in my time here, obviously Hunter felt I was the right guy for this moment, and there's no doubt in my mind that I am the right guy in this moment. And this is all about our players. And so our job and my job is to make sure that these next few weeks that we figure out a way to play like Razorbacks. And we've lost that the last few weeks. And we're going to do our darndest and everything we can to pump some life back into these guys and go and play our best football game of the year when we go to Baton Rouge in a few weeks.
Hey, Hunter, when did you make the decision to pull the trigger on Chad? And what can you tell the fans about your pool of candidates that you, I'm sure, already have in mind?
Sure. Well, I made a definitive decision, Tom. After the game Saturday night, I went up and visited with the chancellor at his residence and made a recommendation to him that he passed on to President Bobbitt and the board. And so that's when definitively the final decision was made. And as will be the case throughout this entire process, I'm not going to comment on anyone who could or will not be a potential candidate for this job, other than to say we will have a very strong candidate pool.
Hunter, I guess the reports were out there that Chad's buyout was a little over $10 million, and I guess there's been other reports he might take a lump sum. Can you clarify what's going on with his buyout? Just how tough is that to have to pay, I know lots of schools are doing it, but how tough a deal is that to pull the trigger when you know you might have to pay all that money?
Sure. Well, we will follow Coach Morris's employment agreement, which does not include a lump sum payment. So he's got 4 years remaining on his contract. So we will pay him per his contract 70% of his contract value over the course of the next 4 years. And there's also a duty to mitigate within that. And obviously it's a challenge for us to take that money from somewhere and apply it to a buyout. And so, but we've got a great chief financial officer who has assured me that we have the means to do so, and it was comfortable making that change because of that.
I understand you're not going to give us a list of names, but do you feel like it's important you get a guy that's a sitting head coach? Would a coordinators be considered? Maybe guys, former head coaches who have been out of the business for a while. Just what kind of pool are you looking at?
All of the above, Bob. I mean, I want to get the best person in here to lead our football program. So on that list you mentioned, current sitting head coaches, coordinators, former head coaches, all of those will be considered.
Barry, what was the players' response? Oh, just Hunter. Okay. Well,
okay. Let's go next. All right. It's surprising that Bob took somebody's question. I don't know.
Just after two coaches and two huge buyouts, does this kind of change what you may do for your contract for your next coach, and just regarding the buyouts and situation?
Well, I mean, the buyout situation throughout college athletics, I don't think is great. I mean, there's huge buyouts in all these contracts, and I did say I thought that, and I said it in my opening press conference, that losing football games should be a condition for terms of your employment to be nullified, and that's tough to be a pioneer in that because that hurts your candidate pool moving forward. It has to be an industry-wide change. It can't be one where Arkansas takes the lead on that per se, or it's going to hurt our candidate pool. So I don't see any significant changes in how we do our contracts, and we will pay what we need to pay to get the best person to take this position.
You said you've seen the program take a couple steps back over the last few weeks. What specifically did you mean by that, and did you think that Coach Morse kind of lost control of his locker room?
I don't know if he lost support of his locker room. I thought that the past couple of weeks that we weren't competing the way we had earlier in the season. I think you go back to the Texas A&M game and how hard we competed in that game, and we gave ourselves a chance to win that game against a very good Texas A&M team in the fourth quarter. And even back to the Auburn game, I don't think Auburn, Alabama are great opponents, but I didn't think we played very well, and I didn't think we competed very well in either one of those games, and we surely didn't compete very well against Mississippi State or Western Kentucky this past Saturday.
Hunter, a lot of criticism maybe on just the timeline of not giving enough time to head coaches. What was it that you saw that showed you that time wasn't going to be the right fit here?
The competitive nature of our football program. Again, I didn't have tremendously high expectations for us this season. One of those expectations was for us to go out each and every Saturday and compete like the Razorback football program should compete, and I thought we were no longer doing that, and I don't think that takes time to motivate the players within your program to compete.
Hunter, have you gotten a sense that, donors and boosters are fully committed to doing whatever it takes to get the best guy in here?
I would say that our Razorback nation is fully committed to getting the best person in here. I think we all desperately want our football program to be great again.
Hunter, you pointed to your discussion with players and not enjoying their experience here. I was wondering who else that you might have consulted with, like I assume, people who give a lot of money, but also what about the common Razorback fan? Did you reach out to any of them, or who else had say, I guess, on how they felt about this program?
Well, I consulted with Chancellor Steinmetz, some members of our board, but I didn't really reach out to anybody on our fan base. I think many of our fans made their thoughts known through various mediums about what they thought about our program. I think you could look at our attendance over the past couple of weeks and see what our fan base felt about our program moving forward. But this was my decision, and through my observation, I spent a lot of time around our football program. It's very, very important to the success of our athletic program that our football program is successful.
Hunter, as an ex-athlete, you've been in this side of the game now for a while as an AD. What have you evaluated with maybe the roster, the talent on the team, and is a radical kind of style maybe needed? Barry Lunny, one of the best at being a straight-up football player. Is that kind of something you're looking at? Because, we see it every Saturday, having trouble even competing talent-wise as well.
Sure. Well, I will tell you that there's plenty of talent in our locker room. It may not be Alabama-level talent, but we have plenty of talent, I believe, firmly within our locker room. And so that'll be up to whoever we choose as our next head coach, what type of system they employ as a head coach to be successful and help us win football games. So I'm not going to put myself in a box to say I'm going to bring in a triple option coach or anything like that as a radical move. Or it's going to be we're going to hire the best football coach and allow them to put in the best system to make sure that our program's successful.
Hunter, a couple times this year you've said that you saw progress in the program, that it may be not visible with results, but you saw progress. What do you feel happened that halted that progress? What internally is happening with this team?
I think it really was I look back to the second half of the Kentucky game, and we had fought really hard against Texas A&M. We had fought and played really well in the first half versus Kentucky. Probably did not have the lead we thought we should have had at a halftime of that game, and I thought our season really turned when we couldn't close out that game and get that win against Kentucky. And I thought at that point in time our student athletes started to lose a little bit of belief on if we could actually ever get over the hump with the current leadership.
Hunter, when you look at what's going on right now and the search that you talked about undertaking, you have a recent search under your belt already in terms of the men's basketball program. How important is it to you to feel like, I've already gone out, vetted a search, I've already looked for candidates and sold the school to those candidates too. How much does that help you with this football coaching?
Absolutely. That search was a great learning experience for me very early in my tenure, a little bit over a year into my tenure, about what people outside of Fayetteville think of the University of Arkansas and how positively people think of this institution and this state and what this athletic program, at that point in time, our men's basketball program, and what they believe our football program should be. And so that was a great learning experience for me to go through that and really to see on a national level the perception of the University of Arkansas and our athletic program.
Hunter, after turning this coach over in less than 2 years and looking like that is going to be more prevalent in college football as we move forward, how do you assure the next head coach that they're going to get the time to build this program and really take them in the direction that you want Arkansas football to go?
Sure. That's my job to sell them on that. And I mean, quite honestly, I know I've got to get this search right. We cannot afford, as a Department of Athletics, to go through this 2 to 3 years from now. This gives the timing of this change gives me a little bit longer runway to really do my due diligence on this search and make sure that we get the right candidate in here, and then we allow that right candidate the time they need to build a program. Obviously, it's going to take steps. That first step is we've just got to be competitive. We've got to put a competitive product out on that field that we all feel proud to support Saturday after Saturday. And then from that competitiveness will become wins, and those wins will start to multiply year after year. But the first thing is we've just got to put a competitive product out there in the field.
All right, a couple things. What was the meeting like with the players last night? How'd you think Barry handled that?
Barry handled it great. I gave some remarks to the young men. The first thing I did was apologize to most of them for how they found out about the change. I had set up a text message to go to them at about 10:50 that scheduled a meeting at 7 o'clock. I had to travel yesterday to our women's soccer game. As is often the case, the story leaks out and somebody gets a story, and then our student athletes have to find out at a less desirable way than I would have preferred. So the first thing I did was apologize to each and every one of them about how they found out about that, and then talked about my decision to make that change in the leadership, and talked about my decision to appoint Coach Lunny. And quite honestly, the kids were really excited about Coach Lunny. I think for the reason we talked about. He's a Razorback. He's walked in their footsteps. He understands what they're going through, having an interim coach. He pointed to that big win over Tennessee. And I think, he's got them believing that we can have some special things happen over the last couple of weeks of this season.
When you made the call to appoint Barry, did you know about
So there you have it. Hunter Yurachek giving a very detailed press conference. Reasons for the firing, reasons for choosing Barry Lunny Jr. as the interim head coach, giving some insight into the sort of coach that he'll be looking for to take over at Arkansas football, which has sounded like there are no. I didn't hear any. I won't look at this sort of coach. It sounds like he'll look at just about anybody. And we want to know what you think. There's a lot to react to there. 877-377-6963 is the Cherokee Casino hotline. And we'll take your calls and your texts all throughout halftime up until 2 o'clock. So I feel like we could do an extra 2 hours today, but we're only under contract to do 2. Halftime brought to you by Breeden RV in Van Buren. Although it is not all that nice out there right now, it is a great time to get yourself a new RV with the year-end clearance sale continuing at Breeden RV and Power Sports in Van Buren. You'll find great deals. Travel trailers starting at $99.95. Fifth wheels under $30,000. And, of course, Breeden RV is the only dealer that'll give you maintenance for life for free with a new purchase. That's Breeden RV and Power Sports in Van Buren. Go to BreedenRVs.com for more information. Let's react to the change in leadership in Arkansas football. What coach do you want to see looked at? What do you think of the Chad Morris era? What did you think of what you saw this weekend? 877-377-6963. Don't go anywhere. We'll take your calls, give your texts on halftime next.
Shooters shoot. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
The lines are getting ridiculous in the bathroom. And, people who don't want to spend money on water, they go in and refill their cups inside of the sink. And it's tap water.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help out the people out there in the
I'm not refilling my water bottle in the bathroom sink at the stadium. I'm sorry. No.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Joe's Grilling Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half price. And all beers on tap are half price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grilling Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
At Chambers Bank, our Arkansas roots grow deep, and you can trust us as your partner for every banking need. From a simple checking account to your first home loan, whatever you need, big or small, we are here for you. With 18 convenient branches throughout the state and a full suite of online banking options, we will always be available when you need us. Family owned in Arkansas since 1930, Chambers is your full-service community bank. Bank with trust at Chambers Bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS 631520.
People love to hate on boneless wings. At GG Hot Stuff posted, if you eat boneless wings, you trash. Well, Hot Stuff, your trash must be delicious because Buffalo Wild Wings completely reinvented their boneless wings. They're meatier and juicier. At T-Bone Magic posted, only children eat boneless wings. Well, T-Bone, we can all learn a lot from children, like how boneless wings are delicious. So get to B-Dubs and try the new boneless wings. Buffalo Wild Wings. Roar!
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
It's football season, and the right play is at Hertz Car Sales, 2810 Midland Boulevard. Their business is quality used cars at a great price, with their #1 goal of passing the savings on to you. The latest makes and models, low mileage vehicles, with an overall experience that can't be matched. Make the short drive to 2810 Midland Boulevard today and find that there's no better way to buy your next vehicle. Call them today at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromhertz.com. Hertz Car Sales, what are you waiting for?
We did it again. Evans Body Shop has been voted the best independent collision repair shop in the River Valley for the second year in a row. None of it would have been possible without our top-notch crew and our customers, friends, and family that take their time to vote for us. We would like to say thank you. We are humbled by the continued loyalty and support from our community and staff and will continue to go above and beyond every day. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren. Come by today and see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays are all about football. And TGI Fridays in Fort Smith has all-day specials every game day. TGI Fridays has the game on and all your favorite beers, drinks, and appetizers, including $2 draft beers, $5 pitchers, and $3 specialty drinks. Plus delicious appetizers like loaded cheese fries, boneless wings, skillet queso, and lots more for only $5. Football, food, and fun all day long. If it's game day, it's TGI Fridays, I-540 and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Brantley trying to turn the corner, lost the football, and the Hawks have it. They will have it at the 35-yard line. Jevin Calloway came up to make the hit.
Hunter Yurachek saying that he decided to make a change, firing Chad Morris. After the Western Kentucky loss Saturday, had to speak with his higher-ups, so spoke with Chancellor Steinmetz. They took it from there and let Chad Morris know that he would no longer be the head football coach at Arkansas during their weekly Sunday morning meeting. And he said, usually if you're fired, you're not going to be surprised by it. So I don't think Chad Morris would have been surprised, being that the team was outscored 198-60 in the last 4 games. And, I mean, for a season that started with such low expectations, to have a firing 10 games in tells you how bad things had gotten of late. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson in the studios. We're taking your calls and texts up until 2 o'clock, discussing, well, you can say change in leadership. I'd expect there'll be another change if Barry Lunny Jr. isn't kept as the official head coach, which doesn't happen all that often. So we've got plenty to get to here. Text from the 918 area code says an unrealistic fan base makes it hard on a coach to win or even want this job. So it sounds like somebody there wanted to keep Chad Morris. I wonder, but unrealistic. The realistic expectations this year were for 4 or 5 wins, with maybe a shot at 6. There is no chance of that even happening. So with the bar set low, you never even got to anywhere close to the bar. All right, first up on the Cherokee Casino hotline this afternoon is Eddie in Clarksville. Eddie, you've been calling for this for a bit now, and it's been a season of ups and downs for your voice on this program. So how you feeling about this?
Well, sir, I want to call in today, and I want to give commends to Hunter Yurachek for making a decision that had to be done. And definitely for the last couple, well, you can say really all season, we did compete against the A&M game, but you can't build a season on one game, and then you don't compete in the rest of them. And certainly another thing I think was a downfall of Coach Morris. He could not develop a quarterback, could not make a decision who would play quarterback, and you cannot in college football. That's the number one position you got to have right, and they could not. Nobody in the staff apparently could do it either. So now we look for the future. And the first order of business, I want to address our new interim head coach, Barry Looney. And the first stop for you, sir, is to go down just a little ways down 40 here and make a stop at Morrilton High School and Mr. Jacoby Criswell. And you need to get down there this afternoon. And you need to tell him, hang on, son. Wait on your decision. This state loves you. You've got the God-given talent. We want you at the U of A. That's your first order of business. You cannot let this kid get out of state. And that shows more of the incompetence of the last coaching staff. I mean, you only produce 6 or 7 kids a year, and you don't let this kid get out of state? You better drink some coffee. Hey, get down there this afternoon. Hey, if you have to bring Mr. Yurachek, bring him down there too. But we do not, under any circumstances, let Jacoby get out of this state. And we need to tell him we love him, we want him. He's a home state kid, and you're going to have an opportunity, whoever the next head coach at the U of A, to play at the U of A. That's all I have to say about that. Let's get to the next head coach of this university. I've said this before. You can win at the U of A. No doubt about it. We don't have to sell the U of A. We just made some bad decisions on an administrative level for the last 8 years in coaching hires. And we got to get it right this time. Mr. Yurchek addressed that. He said this hire, what did he say, has to be right. And I have no doubt. Look what he did when he brought in Coach Musselman. Just look at my program starting to turn around. You can tell it. And so we can do the same in our football program.
All right, Eddie, I'm going to have to cut you off there at 3 minutes, and we appreciate that phone call. Lots to get to, and I think we'll have to keep it somewhat short for this first hour, as we've got some shorter segments. Got to get these sponsors in, as Arkansas makes a change in head football coach. Hunter Yurachek did say, he sees a lot of other programs on campus competing for conference and national championships, and believes that while expectations aren't for conference titles every year, that you can compete for one in football at the conference and national level. And obviously Arkansas a long way from that. We're brought to you by The Fenceman. If you own a business that needs more security or just needs more curb appeal, a new fence from The Fenceman can give you both. They specialize in custom installations, and The Fenceman has been doing it for over 40 years. Ask about gates, ask about controlled access card readers. The Fenceman is there for a quick, no-obligations quote. Give Henry a call at The Fenceman, 479-782-3936. The Fenceman, a division of Quantum Property Services. Your calls and texts up until 2 o'clock on halftime. Stick around on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
The best midday show in the Natty State. You're listening to Halftime with Bill Elson and Ty Richardson.
Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative is excited to introduce Wave Rural Connect, bringing state-of-the-art fiber internet, TV, and phone services right into the homes of all their members. Get amazing fast fiber internet 100 megabits for only $49.95 per month, or 1 gigabit for $79.95 per month. Go to waveruralconnect.com to find out where they're installing in your area, or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Arts Barbecue Burgers and More wants to help you feed your family this holiday season. Have the pros at Arts smoke or deep fry your turkey or ham. Arts has affordable packages available for any size family or crowd. Or drop off your turkey or ham and we will take it from there. Arts Barbecue Burgers and More is much more than their famous barbecue and burgers. During the holiday season, let Arts cater everything from breakfast to dessert. Arts Barbecue Burgers and More, next to Aaron's on Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
Great camping weather is just around the corner, so at Breeden RV in Van Buren, we're having our year-end clearance sale right now. Get great deals on new RVs like travel trailers that start at $99.95 and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives our new customers maintenance for life for free. We also have a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now is the time to camp, and now is the time to let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Breeden RV, your home for maintenance for life.
Oh, that's an RV.
Make a hot spring spa part of your day-to-day routine now and discover what it means to get more out of each day. Hi, Tommy Kraft for our good friends at Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale. Burton's is having an instant rebate event where you get $1,000 in instant rebate with the purchase of select hot springs models. Burton Pools and Spas is at 6121 Zero Street in Fort Smith and 725 South 48th Street in Springdale. Just imagine being able to come home from a hard day at work and to slip into your own hot spring spa from Burton Pools and Spas and let the stress of everyday life just slip away. And you're going to be totally impressed with all the features and options that are available on a hot spring spa. See it for yourself in Fort Smith or in Springdale and find out more about how you can get a $1,000 instant rebate with a purchase of a select hot spring spa today. That's Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale, or find out more online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
Barley is the soul of Budweiser. That's why we've been working with the same family-owned American farms for more than 50 years to harvest it. The secrets to growing this grain perfectly have been passed down through 3 generations. For them, it's a legacy. And it's why only the best barley and locally sourced ingredients are used to make Budweiser. Budweiser is proudly raised across America. This Bud's from our barley farmers. This Bud's for you. Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Jones floating, throws back to the end zone, touchdown! Stephen Harris, there were two wideouts going across the back line, and he was on that edge right in the corner, and he pulls it down.
Well, good thing it's crossover season right now, right, Ty? You got football. Well, you had football for a while, and there's mercifully 2 games left this season. Be pretty interesting to see the effort given, I think, against LSU and against Missouri, because I think at the top of the list right now of all the issues that Arkansas football faced and built up throughout this season, what really stood out the last few weeks was effort in a number of areas. Defensively, certainly one of them. And coaching, I think, the effort given by coaches, because you did not see that effort reflected from the players. It definitely looked like this Arkansas football team, at least the bulk of them, checked out on the coaching staff a while back.
Yeah. No, I think that when you can look at a number of different games this season, Phil, there were just times that the effort wasn't there, whether it was Western Kentucky, whether it was the Auburn-Alabama game. You could tell that the players were just done. And that's one of the things Hunter Yurchek spoke to, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of their fans saw this year with this season. It didn't look like, because we talked about the buy-in, about how it was going to be a transition for Brett Bielema's players and his style to Chad Morris's, but it never felt like that these players fully bought into this coaching staff. And I think you ultimately saw that on the field results.
And it's been interesting to follow some of the social media response from Brett Bielema's former players who are no longer with the program, those who are still playing at Arkansas that were recruited and brought to campus by Brett Bielema. Right now, you got to feel like they're under some sort of a gag order. But once they're out of the program, it'll be pretty interesting to get their thoughts. I did say, hey, it is crossover season. Basketball tomorrow. Eric Musselman live radio tonight at Sassy's Barbecue and Grill at 7 o'clock. So talk about better things, right? Chuck Barrett will be on the show hosting with Eric Musselman. And Gene Tilsilla and Mason Jones will be joining the program. So 2 of the guys who are getting the bulk of the minutes. And then the Hogs and North Texas tomorrow, 7 o'clock tip. Of course, we're carrying both Eric Musselman live and all Arkansas men's basketball games right here on your ESPN Arkansas affiliate.
And Mason Jones was just named the SEC Player of the Week this past week, Phil.
Oh, goodness. 33 points against Rice last
Career
week.
high.
He went off, really. He went off in the first half. The first quarter of the first half, he really went off.
By the way, I don't know how much you guys pay attention to Arkansas's opponents' schedule, but they actually just beat Penn by, I believe, 19 points this past week.
Coming off a win at Alabama.
Which is kind of interesting. So, by de facto, you would think that Arkansas is better than Alabama. We'll see what happens when they actually play on the court this season. But I found that result kind of interesting, that Rice creamed Penn after Penn beat Alabama.
877-377-6963, the Cherokee Casino hotline. Let's get through some texts here and then go to the phones. Dylan in Greenwood says, Hunter Yurchek made the right decision. Thinks with this interim coach, he understands what it's like to have a season and have an interim coach that also believes Hunter Yurchek is bringing the program to the right direction from the Jeff Long era. By the way, Hunter Yurchek, now you talk about an opportunity to really make your stamp on an athletic department and a chance to, well, not set your legacy early, but see if you can start a legacy early. Hiring Eric Musselman in March, and now here it is. That's 8 months later, and you're making a change in football. So, wow. I mean, that's it. That's a whirlwind 8 months. Absolutely whirlwind. Jeremiah in Cedarville says he thinks it was the losses to North Texas, Colorado State, and those types of schools. Arkansas should have never been in the position to lose those games. Hey, 4 losses, 3 of those losses that you're talking about, last year North Texas and this year against San Jose State and Western Kentucky. I mean, these 3 losses didn't just cost Arkansas respect, but it also cost them a lot of money. Well, like $4.5 million to lose 3 games. And absolutely unbelievable when you look at that. Rex from Hector says he finally pulled the trigger. Who do you think will be the best fit? And I think we'll get into some of that stuff later on in the show.
Some good odds, man. You know what's interesting when Vegas comes out with odds for next Arkansas football head coach.
Well, it
Definitely
seems
gonna touch on that.
Bruce Feldman of The Athletic is pointing to Gus Malzahn as the top choice again, unbelievably.
Got some Paul Feinbaum sound from the Jocks this morning talking about how he should just take the job. So, Paul
Mike Norvell, you've heard P.J. Fleck's name thrown around, Matt Campbell at Iowa State, Mike Leach, of course, at Washington State, and then you hear a lot of folks calling, for the days of Bobby Petrino and Houston Nutt. So it's going to be an interesting, how long is this going to take? It's going to be pretty interesting. All right, let's go to the Cherokee Casino hotline. Next up on halftime, it's Gary in Fort Smith. Hi, Gary. You're on the air.
Hey, guys. You kind of just talked about what I wanted to talk about with Hunter Yurachek. Talk about a guy with some guts. He fires a protege of Nolan Richardson in a basketball program that did have some success. Trying to get
and gets him to come back
level.
7 months later, by the way, for a ceremony. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing that so impressed me about his hiring of Coach Muss was that there was absolutely no leaks, no information that leaked out about Coach Muss or anything about the hiring at all. And, ask the President of the United States how tough leaks are. So, I mean, I respect the guy for being able to handle the big money donors, all the people inside the administration, and all of the fan base, and not have any leaks out there. So, and then also to hit a home run with the hire, I think. So, as you say, it takes guts. A year and 3/4 in to realize, hey, we got to make another change here, and it's not going to be easy. But he made the call, and I'm also impressed that he put an Arkansas guy as the interim and as a transition. I think who's had experience over multiple coaching staff. So I have full faith in Coach in Hunter Yurachek that he's going to get us the right guy, and he certainly has shown that so far in how he's conducted himself in that position.
Gary, appreciate that phone call. And hey, there's been 2 hires that Hunter Yurachek has made, and Jordan Weber at gymnastics and Eric Musselman at basketball. And what the 2 of those have together, they both have great backstories. Jordan Weber, Olympic medalist, has dealt with the sexual assault case under Larry Nassar, has really put Arkansas gymnastics in a place where it's never been before, and that's without even coaching one meet. She's a personality who can draw in and really seems to be somebody who has the makings of a great coach. With Musselman, the story behind him is he's coached at every level of the game and has deep roots in the game of basketball, but also a real energy that has, I think, infected everybody. But again, I mean, these hires only look good right now. We got to wait a little bit of time until you really know whether or not they were good hires, because how did you feel the first month after Chad Morris was the head coach? You heard all of the sales job. You heard everything about most explosive offense. And you heard all the things you wanted to hear, and maybe things that you really didn't want to hear that you were forced to hear anyway. And it turns out in the shortest tenure that I've known for a long time in college football, you might have been absolutely dead wrong. We're taking your phone calls and your texts up till 2 o'clock on halftime, reacting to Hunter Yurachek's press conference, introducing Barry Lunney Jr. as the interim head coach. And the phone number to get through with us is 877-377-6963. Now, it's really nasty outside today. It's winter weather has already approached. And so it's time to start celebrating. And Branson Convention and Visitors Bureau, along with HitThatLine.com and your ESPN Arkansas radio affiliate, are giving away a Branson getaway for the holidays. Listen to all the stuff you get here. 3 nights at the Hilton Hotel in Branson. Tickets to a Christmas show. You'll go to the North Pole Adventure at the Shepherd of the Hills. A Christmas music Ferris wheel ride at the Track Family Fun Park, and Branson Restaurant gift cards. And that's if you are the winner. The last day to register is December 10th. You can enter once daily on HitThatLine.com. You must be 21 years or older to register. Think about that. Branson Holidays, thanks to Branson Convention and Visitors Bureau. HitThatLine.com and ESPN Arkansas. Get back with us, 877-377-6963, the Cherokee Casino hotline. Halftime returns after this quick break.
The best midday show in the Natty State. You're listening to Halftime.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
Full-time farmers, hobby farmers, and landowners, your time is important. Make the most out of that time with a brand new Branson tractor from Bush Machine and Tractor in Fort Smith. With tractors from 19 to 105 horsepower, we have a tractor that will fit your needs. Ask Bush Machine and Tractor about their special financing options and free loader rebates. Bush Machine and Tractor in Fort Smith is Arkansas's #1 Branson dealer. Check their inventory at bushtractor.com.
Eagle Crest Golf Course is open, and winter rates are now in effect. Just $35 to enjoy Eagle Crest Golf Course, card included. Winter rates are back, and Eagle Crest is ready for you. Lush zoysia fairways, beautiful bent grass greens, and the best views in the River Valley. Just $35, card included. So get your golf buddies together and head to Eagle Crest Golf Course. Winter rates just $35. Eagle Crest Golf Course, Highway 64, just east of Alma.
Right now, I'm holding a perfectly ice-cold Coors Light. You know how I know it's the perfect temperature? Because the mountain on the can is blue. And also, it's really cold. Every Coors Light is cold filtered, cold lagered, and cold packaged. Notice how many times I said cold? 3 times. It's that cold. So make sure the mountain on your can of Coors Light is blue, because that means it's ready to enjoy. 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for all repairs. Paintless Dent Repair, door dings, unsightly dents, and hail damage repair, all repaired to like new conditions. With over 1 million repaired vehicles with satisfied customers, Michael Littleton is the expert in paintless repair. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair, conveniently located 3 miles from the Arcoma exit off Highway 112. Or call 479-461-9764. Your #1 Arkansas fan.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half price. And all beers on tap are half price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
I'm Frank Mir, former UFC heavyweight champion. My career in the UFC was tough on my body. I was considering stem cell therapy, but now, thanks to water-soluble CBD from CBD American Shaman, my life is so much better. CBD American Shaman has a water-soluble product made with nanotechnology. The nanotech allows CBD oil to mix directly into the water in a cloud when other CBD oil would just float on the top of the water. American Shaman doesn't make claims. Their customers do. CBD American Shaman, a CBD like no other.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Whaley. Wow. Walks into the end zone. And I mean walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Razorbacks.
You know, a thing that does stand out watching the press conference at Razorback Stadium today, Barry Lunny Jr. seemed pretty comfortable in a role, at least being in front of the cameras. I don't know, how comfortable he would be as a head coach for the first time. Think about your first game as a head coach, Ty, going into Baton Rouge at night against the top-ranked team in the country. I guess we'll find out if LSU really is the top-ranked team in the country tomorrow, but they sure looked like it on Saturday. That's where you start your head coaching career. Yeah, all you can do is shake your head. Just shake your head at the thought of that.
Yeah.
But he does say he seems very comfortable in front of the media, in front of the cameras, and talking about what he's undergone as a change in leadership when he was at Arkansas, going into Joe Kynes right after the loss to the Citadel, and just looks somebody, he knows all the media members. And he's a little more enjoyable already than watching the uncomfortable nature I think you felt from Chad Morris. Certainly in the last month and a half, those have been uncomfortable press conferences.
It's also a night game, too, in Death Valley, which doesn't help out anything. The game time was announced for that earlier today. 6 p.m. in Tiger Stadium is when Arkansas will take on LSU, which is fun for an atmosphere-wise, but not as your first game as the Arkansas interim coach. That I can absolutely agree with you on, Phil.
Barry Lunny also saying Joe Craddock and John Chavis will stick around at least for the next 2 games to call plays. Craddock, of course, offensively, Chavis defensively, and then I have a feeling that we will you'll be saying adieu to both of them. 877-377-6963, our Cherokee Casino hotline. We'll get to your text in a moment. Next up on the hotline, Jim in Mountain Home. Jim, thanks for calling. What's up?
I just got a quick question from you guys and get your thoughts on it. We keep throwing around the same names for head coach year in, year out, and we wind up either not getting them or we go a different direction. Why not step outside the box and get somebody that's got a lineage behind them and let them come out and prove themselves like a Steve Belichick? And, I'll step back and get your guys' thoughts on that.
Well, Phil, the thing is, you got to get people's butts in seats. You talk about how many the last 2 games were the least amount of people since stadium expansion that they've had in Razorback Stadium. So Jim,
42,985 was the announced attendance on Saturday.
Yeah, Jim, to kind of go off your point, Hunter Yurachek was just talking about in the press conference that they can't afford to miss on this next hire. And so you have to balance out the idea of going after someone who has already proved themselves compared to the next up-and-comer, which is a difficult thing to do because you just did that with Brett Bielema and Chad Morris. You went after a guy that had proved himself in Brett Bielema, failed. You went after an upper-comer in Chad Morris, failed. So you need to figure out what you want. Regardless of who that is, you have to bring in someone who will get Arkansas fans' attention, who fans will be excited about. Like, you can't just bring in a no-name guy regardless of his winning percentage or something, because part of the idea is you have to get Arkansas fans excited about the football program again, excited to donate, excited to support, excited to go to games, which is a very difficult state of things to do right now, Phil.
Well, I think the idea of somebody who's run a Power 5 program before makes sense, who might have done it once or twice, somebody with experience, somebody that's got some ties to the area. Yeah, I mean, I think if somebody that can connect at least to Arkansans and Razorback fans. You don't have to be from here, but you do have to buy in. You've got to become an Arkansan as soon as you possibly can. You got to be able to recruit Texas, and really, do some of the things that Chad Morris did that was good, which was reconnect with those high schools in Texas where the relationship had been broken by Brett Bielema. And who would have thought? To me, Bielema still, when you look back at it, that was a good hire. Who would have known that he would have just broken recruiting the way that he did? It didn't make sense when it happened, but his outsized personality and ability to poke the bear sometimes really seemed to be his downfall, poking the bear of Texas high school football in some cases. And with Chad Morris, it's not the recruiting. It's the inability to coach the players that you had, to coach them up, to make them better, to make the whole better than the sum. They're the sum better than the parts. You know what I mean? This team never played or never felt this, certainly not of late, played bigger than you expected from them. You saw that against Texas A&M. That's the only game this season where you really feel like this team might have played better than the sum of its parts. You saw that a couple times last season, but it just wasn't there this year.
Phil, and I think when you look at whoever's hire next, and as Hunter Yurachek said, they can't afford to miss on this next hire, you look at the future of the Arkansas football program. If they do, in fact, miss, you could be in this state for quite some time with no hope of ever getting out.
Well, you already feel like you're in that downward spiral that has no way of stopping, right? I mean, it goes right from the end of Bobby Petrino to John L. Smith through the Bielema years, now 2 years with Chad Morris. That's 3 coaches right there.
And a couple more years of this could put you in a spot where you are unable to dig yourself out of the hole, especially the way that college football is moving. So I know it was a big deal with the Arkansas basketball program, him bringing in Muss, and people saying that they can't miss on this. This is an entirely new level of pressure for Hunter Yurachek and his tenure at Arkansas. This is his defining moment. You thought that basketball was? Football is a completely different story. This will be the up or down of his trend as the AD at Arkansas, Phil.
This is why most athletic directors are in the positions that they're in. They know how to make hires. There's no bigger hire at any university than football. And whether you like that or not, that just happens to be the truth. 877-377-6963, our Cherokee Casino hotline. Will continue to take your calls and your texts throughout the top of the hour up to 2 here on halftime, so don't go anywhere.
You always get more at Orr.
We always put the customer first at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith. Since 1924, the Orr family of dealerships has grown based on one simple principle. Give the customer more money for their trades and give them a lower price on their new vehicle. It's a simple concept, really, but one that very few dealers honor anymore. Hey, we know you paid a lot of money for your vehicle, and Orr Chevrolet wants to pay you the maximum amount for it today. Then we'll give you an awesome price on a new Chevrolet. But we're not done giving you more. Included with any new vehicle sold. Orr Chevy will also give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So come get a lower price and more money for your trade today at Orr Chevrolet on Auto Park Drive in Fort Smith and 24/7 at OrChevyFS.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You always get more at Orr.
Tired of all the broken promises and broken equipment at your current gym? The Fort Smith Athletic Club is the nicest and most well-equipped fitness and tennis club in the area, with a state-of-the-art fitness center, Pilates, fitness classes, personal and group training, and the best tennis facilities in the region. 7 outdoor courts, 5 indoor courts, plus pickleball and racquetball courts, and free child care is included. The Fort Smith Athletic Club. Call 452-4031 for membership information.
Now is the best time of year to get more for your money on a new Mahindra. Enjoy 0% interest or save thousands of dollars on a rugged Mahindra tractor. That's more for less on many of Mahindra's best-selling models, with tractors that deliver more lift capacity, fuel efficiency, and built-in weight. So pay 0% interest or save thousands on the world's #1 selling farm tractor. Only at Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and BF Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and BF Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Our weather overnight turning cloudy, pretty good chance of rain, and our low near 40. For tomorrow, we'll have rain most of the day, maybe mixing with a little snow and sleet through the afternoon hours. Cold front moving through, gusty and falling temperatures. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Hertz Car Sales, 2810 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith. You can call them today at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromhertz.com.
Radio station.
KERX, Paris, Fort Smith, from the Bush and Bushlight Studios. This is ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, Matt Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown.
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like
Wide
it?
open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
This crazy Monday continues on a day where it is sleeting and or snowing outside your window. It certainly is mine here in Fayetteville. Road's going to be pretty slick later on tonight, so be very safe. It is also Veterans Day, and we would be remiss without thanking and honoring our veterans for serving and helping us have and keep the freedoms which we do keep so dear to our hearts, keeps us with the ability to continue to bitch and moan about bad football and enjoy a coaching. Is enjoy the right word here, Ty Richardson?
It's playing tracking season, baby.
So this is prime conspiracy theory time. This is a perfect time of the year for you, my man.
I know. Every flight that leaves out of XNA, I can draw and come up with these different conspiracy theories and conjectures about who the next Arkansas head coach is. But it's also, I think, the worst time to have a cold, Phil. I could not. I don't think I've been sick since I started working for Pearson Broadcasting. And then, of course, this weekend, I just get hit by a cold. And I'm thinking to myself, this could not be a worse time for me to get sick.
I think you have the same thing Arkansas's defense has.
Yeah.
Yes, a nasty virus. Yes. Your voice sounds a little bit better than it did Saturday night during Hog Reaction. But don't worry. You don't have to say much Saturday night. Our callers took over for you.
Yeah, we let them kind of steer the ship and on that, but I think I just think that people are frustrated and they needed to vent. They're obviously frustrated and needed to vent today, but I will say that based on the press conference that we heard from Hunter Yurachek, I think people have confidence in him based on what happened with Eric Musselman and the hire there, because I think people were a little skeptical, a little worried after letting Mike Anderson go. I know there's still a lot of Mike Anderson apologists out there, and we're really ticked to see him let go. But at least from early on, Eric Musselman looks like a good hire, and I think based off that, people are confident to see what Hunter Yurachek can really do with his bread and butter hire, which is the Arkansas football head coach.
Well, it's certainly a much different situation at Arkansas Athletics than the last time around. They had to make a coaching change at football, and it just also gives you a window into how crazy it was 2 years ago when the decision to hire Chad Morris was even made. A decision that was made by an interim athletic director in Julie Cromer People, somebody who is, by the way, highly respected throughout the world of college sports. But at that moment, the moment might have been a little bit too big. So now you've got somebody in Hunter Yurachek who also is extremely well respected, but in a different way, someone who's settled into a role as athletic director at 3 locations, has made good hires all along the way, and now an entire state waits with bated breath to see who'll be the next most famous man in the state of Arkansas. Your reactions throughout the show today on the Cherokee Casino Hotline, 877-377-6963. So who do you get? That's the big question. Do you look for somebody who's got ties to the state, who might be from here, who's a younger coach? A guy like Eli Drinkwitz, but it's only one season there at Appalachian State. Do you go with a Mike Norvell? Norvell, who's from Arkansas, played at UCA, and has a very small buyout. by anybody's standards over there at Memphis with a $500,000 buyout, but also somebody that, word is going to get a heavy look from Florida State. I mean, that's the other school, that and Rutgers, that have the head starts on Arkansas as far as looking for a head coach. And you could stack Florida State ahead of Arkansas in level of where you would rank the job. Arkansas is well ahead of Rutgers, though. But in this case, it felt so obvious, and that this change would happen. There was no reason at all to wait 3 more weeks. It's a good idea to get a head start, and that's exactly what Hunter Yurachek did. So who do you look at?
It's a good question. Jason Brown wants a shot, the former Last Chance U head coach. I still have his number, so I could text him, and I can let him have an open forum here on ESPN Arkansas on why he thinks he deserves the job. But, I mean, you look at these odds, according to betonline.ag, Mike Norvell's 2-1, Elijah Drinkowitz is 3-1, Lane Kiffin's 4-1, Bill Clark's 5-1, Bill Clark over at UAB, Mike Leach 6-1, Sonny Dykes 6-1, Hugh Freeze 8-1, Gus Malzahn's 12-1, Bobby P 18-1, and then Houston Nutt is 25-1, and then
I'd put Houston Nutt. Probably, I would expect Houston Nutt to have a better chance at this job than Hugh Freeze, to be honest. And certainly better than Bobby Petrino. Can we put that one to bed right now? The Bobby Petrino train, it ain't happening, and it shouldn't happen either. You don't want controversy to accompany the coach. And you already were going to have controversy if Chad Morris stuck around another year. By the way, Chandler Morris won't be quarterbacking at Arkansas. He decommitted. Big surprise. But that was already going to be, controversial enough. I don't think you want it's not the headlines, but the controversy that those coaches bring. So does that also, throw away a chance at maybe a Mike Leach? I don't know if controversy necessarily follows him here, but it would be one hell of a ride. That's also somebody who has won at some of the quote-unquote lesser programs in other conferences. Texas Tech, Washington State, there's a track record. There's somebody who's got ties in Texas, someone who knows the SEC a bit, who almost coached in the SEC. Didn't he accept the job at Tennessee during that ridiculous soap opera that brought them Jeremy Pruitt? So, I mean, I don't know. The more I think about a Mike Leach, the more it makes a little bit of sense to me. Let's see what Bobby in Fort Smith says on the Cherokee Casino hotline. Bobby, hey, you're on the air.
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call. There was a little thing, it may have been from at the line or maybe from you guys, of a bunch of coaches' names who come out. What's the validity to that? It's kind of like look at my left hand while my right hand slaps you. And also, there's more rumors, maybe, and it may be fans or there may be some validity to it with Gus Malzahn, which I think would be interesting. At Auburn, if he doesn't make the playoffs or in the running, it's, we're going to fire you. At Arkansas, if he gets us to a bowl game, we're going to give him the keys to the state. So do you think it would actually be better if he left Auburn to come to Arkansas, granted the state of the program, or would it be best for him to stay in Auburn? Hang up and listen.
Thank you, Bobby. So this Gus Malzahn thing is really interesting because you've been jilted by him already. And he used the University of Arkansas to get a nice big fat raise at Auburn. But, hey, isn't that every American's
It's American dream right there,
it's
baby.
The American dream,
Capitalism.
That's right. Find a way to leverage yourself into some bigger money, and he did that.
You're worth what someone's willing to pay you.
So, but then there's also the idea of always being on the hot seat, even when you're on it the first time. And looking at what's coming up, by the way, for Auburn, 7-2 record, but potential losses against Georgia and Alabama. There's a chance you end up finishing 8-4. Whatever happens in the bowl game happens. They don't bring you to Auburn for 8-win seasons, nor to lose to Alabama if that does happen. So if he's sick of that, maybe you look at Arkansas. And then I guess there's the other end of the bargain where isn't there a $27 million buyout that goes along with bringing in Gus Malzahn? Unless Auburn's like, you know what, we're tired of this too. Let's find a way to part ways and make this work for both of us. But it is interesting in many, many ways. And it just seems like part of the soap opera.
And I think that who do we just have a call in? I'm forgetting, but whoever just called in, Bobby from Fort Smith, he brings up a good point, and we'll get to the Paul Feinbaum sound here on the other side of the break. But Paul was talking about it on the Jocks in Birmingham, Alabama, and he was exactly right. The fact that they're going to – Arkansas has less expectations than Auburn football fans do. And I think that there's potentially a belief that Gus is maxed out at Auburn. Like he had his 2013 where they go to the national championship, they lose to Florida State, but since then they haven't really been close to that point. So I'm wondering if that gets to him a little bit and he'd actually consider Arkansas, or if he'd just use it as leverage once again, Phil.
They're tearing him up over there for losing Joey Gatewood and feeling that Bo Nix hasn't really progressed this year, his first year. So they keep coming at Gus for not developing quarterbacks at Auburn.
I love watching KJ Jefferson in that system. I'll tell you what.
Well, he would certainly be running.
Cam Newton type. Good grief.
Halftime brought to you by Breeden RV in Van Buren. The year-end clearance sale continues. Great deals on new RVs, travel trailers at $99.95, fifth wheels under $30,000. All new customers at Breeden RV get maintenance for life for free. That's Breeden RV and Power Sports in Van Buren. BreedenRVs.com for more information. We'll continue to take your calls and your texts, 877-377-6963. Halftime returns right after this break.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio. This is the Morning Rush.
The lines are getting ridiculous in the bathroom. And, people who don't want to spend money on water, they go in and refill their cups inside of the sink. And it's tap water.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help out the people out there.
I'm not refilling my water bottle in the bathroom sink at the stadium. I'm sorry. No.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
You always get more at Orr.
We always put the customer first at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith. Since 1924, the Orr family of dealerships has grown based on one simple principle. Give the customer more money for their trades and give them a lower price on their new vehicle. It's a simple concept, really, but one that very few dealers honor anymore. Hey, we know you paid a lot of money for your vehicle, and Orr Chevrolet wants to pay you the maximum amount for it today. Then we'll give you an awesome price on a new Chevrolet. But we're not done giving you more. Included with any new vehicle sold. Orr Chevy will also give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So come get a lower price and more money for your trade today at Orr Chevrolet on Auto Park Drive in Fort Smith and 24/7 at OrChevyFS.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You always get more at Orr.
This is Mark Hurst. Late fall and early winter are my favorite times of the year. High school football playoffs, time spent with my sons at deer camping in the duck blind, and the holiday season begins. November and December are also great times to take advantage of any remaining dental insurance benefits before the first of the year. Give us a call today at 474-1972 and let us help you maximize your remaining insurance benefits. Or if you don't have dental insurance, ask about our dental discount plan. Hurst Family Dental Care, a name you know and a name you can trust.
B&J Comfort Solutions provides home comfort and energy solutions to the River Valley, specializing in residential sales, service, and installation, offering only the absolute best customer service around. Call in for any of your service, maintenance, or replacement needs. B&J Comfort Solutions offer an industry-leading 5-year labor warranty on all new system installations. Veteran-owned and operated, and satisfaction is always guaranteed. Contact B&J Comfort Solutions today at 479-646-0284.
If you want a compact tractor that's the best value for your dollar, visit Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma and ask about the Workmaster Series compact tractors from Newhall. They are powered by reliable, clean-running engines and are backed by Boomer Guard 5, the best in-class 5-year limited warranty. Not only are they built tough, they are comfortable to operate and gives you a great view from the roomy, open platform. See a Newhall and Workmaster compact tractor today at Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma. They're the best value for your dollar.
Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741.
We did it again. Evans Body Shop has been voted the best independent collision repair shop in the River Valley for the second year in a row. None of it would have been possible without our top-notch crew and our customers, friends, and family that take their time to vote for us. We would like to say thank you. We are humbled by the continued loyalty and support from our community and staff and will continue to go above and beyond every day. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren. Come by today and see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Takes it on the hop at the 9. He's got a seam, then planted as he got out to the 28-yard line. Dallas Washington picked him up and crushed him.
We get the bird's eye view of the situation at Arkansas with Connor O'Gara during our next segment. We'll continue to take your calls and your texts throughout halftime up till 2 o'clock. I'm sure it'll be a crazy few hours on Ruskin and Zach. 3 o'clock on this very station, and then the Eric Musselman live radio program at 7 o'clock starring Gene Telsilla and Mason Jones. I've got women's basketball tonight, so yeah, I've got better things to think about. Later on tonight, Arkansas and McNeese State in a program that is ranked, continues to be ranked. All right, we've got some sound. We've been talking about potential head coaches at Arkansas, and Gus Malzahn always, I guess, going to be a name that gets thrown around, and he was thrown around earlier today by Paul Feinbaum. Not just by Paul Feinbaum. Bruce Feldman from The Athletic is bringing up Gus Malzahn, thinks he's the top candidate potentially. So let's play that sound. We'll react to that.
As far as Chad Morris, I mean, there's no reason to pile on. I think the record's self-evident of what type of a coach he was. As far as Gus Malzahn, I think he has to consider it. Regardless of this weekend or 2 weekends from now, we all know the circumstances at Auburn. It's just a never-ending soap opera. There are people who genuinely love Gus Malzahn and appreciate him, and there's an equal number who don't. And I don't think that's going to change. To me, he gambled 2 years ago. He made a lot of money. Now I would leave. I mean, I don't think it's really a difficult decision for Gus. I would take the money. We've all covered transitions. You're taking over for Chad Morris, who has one of the worst records, the most inept and incompetent and laughable programs I have ever seen in the history of covering the SEC. And, you know, what do you have to do? You get to a bowl game, and they'll give you a parade.
You get to a bowl game, and they'll give you a parade. That really seems like the kind of the timeline of Arkansas football right now, Phil, compared to where you used to be.
So really, and as far as Paul's concerned, it's a slam dunk. It's black and white.
Yeah.
He's saying why wouldn't he take the job if he can't? You know, if it's being offered to him. So I mean, you want to go through that soap opera once again, fine. And you know, here's the thing too, and this goes to any coach that's looking at Arkansas. Yes, it's a steep climb. Yes, you're battling against Alabama and a rising LSU program, and everybody else in this extremely difficult division in the toughest conference in college football. But the expectations are already so low. I mean, what are you going to expect for the first couple of years now? After these 2 years under Chad Morris, they would have taken 4 wins this year, and they would have taken an 0-8 in the SEC. I think Hunter Yurachek would have taken an 0-8 if you at least beat San Jose State, beat Western Kentucky, and show up in a couple of other games that nobody showed up. But obviously that didn't happen. It's like, yes, the money's there. It's a steep climb, but the expectations are so low. If you want a parade when you make a bowl game, you got one ready for you right here.
One of the names that we haven't listed yet on this radio show, and I think someone just texted in, Ross in Paris on the Cherokee Casino hotline, is Les Miles. Does Les Miles do anything for you, Phil Elson?
Not really.
No.
Not right now. I guess I would want to see what happened at Kansas first, but you don't have that luxury any longer. Will he be somebody that is looked at? I kind of pump the brakes on it a little bit. I think I'd like to see what's going on with the program you're running right now. You know, and somebody did point out to me, and it's true, Mike Leach and Washington State, they're in last place in the Pac-12 North right now.
4-5, yeah.
Right, they've actually taken a huge tumble of late to the point where I think Leach was calling out some of the players in the post-game presser. You know, and there's, Leach has some baggage, and he always hasn't been he's been a consistent, 7 to 8 game winner every year. It's not that he's been a 9 or a 10 or 11 game winner every season, but nor has he been in the plush spots in the leagues that he's been
Pullman
coaching.
and Lubbock, Texas, I would not consider just the most dominant college football towns in the country, Phil. Absolutely right.
Taking your calls and your texts, 877-377-6963, the Cherokee Casino hotline. Next up, Robin in Little Rock. Hi, Robin. You're on halftime.
Hey, how are y'all?
Doing great.
So my question is, I heard the list of potential, rumored coaches, that you just read off, and I wouldn't be opposed to Houston or even Petrino. There was one other one I think you read off that I wouldn't have been opposed to. But my question is, so which of the coaches do you think could come in and develop a good quarterback? And do you think that they would try to develop one of the ones that, we've got now? Or would they try to recruit a new one and just kind of start over with that process? So I'll hang up and listen to what you got to say. Thank you.
You're welcome, Robin. I guess part of that also goes into can you keep KJ Jefferson on campus? I mean, this still looks like the kid who should be quarterback of the future at Arkansas. Can you keep him around for another season? Do you want to find a coach that at least now? Here's what did I say the number one problem with Chad Morris was? He was so rigid to his system, he wouldn't adjust to fit the talent that he had. So you're not going to hire a coach who has a system that just fits KJ Jefferson, but at least somebody that is malleable, that has the ability to adjust his scheme or adjust his philosophy to the players that he's at least going to inherit for the first year or two at Arkansas. So you definitely want somebody who has a theory and a philosophy of how to coach, but you want somebody that isn't so rigid that he won't change to the players that he's got, because that's one of the main issues I think that you saw from Chad Morris over these 2 years.
You have to be adaptable in today's college football, Phil, and that's regardless of scheme, regardless of player. You just have to be willing, and that doesn't mean you don't have to stick to your core concepts, but you have to have the at least ability and the wherewithal to be able to change stuff, because obviously with Brett Bielema's players, you didn't have everything and everyone you needed for your scheme and your system. And
at least Bielema, though, would adjust a little bit. I mean, we thought he was going to be a just run, ram it down your throat. What did he do when you had Brandon Allen? You're throwing it all over the place. Yeah, he made an adjustment to the players that he had. Next up on the Cherokee Casino hotline is Drake in Fort Smith. Hi, Drake. Thanks for the call. You're on the air.
Hey there, guys. Good afternoon. Hey, just had a couple things. The first thing is I know there was a lot mentioned about how Whaley on senior day just got like 1 or 2 carries. And in the post game, I didn't hear Morris say anything about that, and we'll probably never really know. But I was just wondering if there was anything around that was my first question. And then the second thing I had is, there's a lot of, I guess, rejuvenation with Lunny and things like that. But I guess what sort of motivation do these kind of Chad Morris coordinators that were brought in and position coaches and things like that, besides their next job, I guess, what kind of motivation do they have really to kind of help this thing, get a little more successful than what we've seen so far?
All right, Drake, thanks for the call. And I'd have a bigger question more than, why did Devwah Whaley get 1 carry on senior day? Why did Rakeem Boyd get 8 carries when 2 of them went for some of the longest touchdowns of the season of any SEC team? And for Whaley on senior day to get the ball once, it must have felt like to him a slap in the face.
And he tweeted out yesterday, "You reap what you sow." So I'm wondering if that was in context to Chad Morris being fired, if he's angry about that. But that didn't make a lot of sense, Phil, at all.
As far as what Craddock and Chavis can do the next couple of weeks, for Chavis, retire. It's time. I think the end of the road is right in front of him. And for Joe Craddock, I don't know. I mean, you're not going to save your job at Arkansas. You're not going to be the offensive coordinator under any new head coach that comes in. But maybe you can do a little bit to save some face for the next opportunity. And I doubt he'll be an offensive coordinator wherever he goes next.
Here's a pickle that Arkansas could face. Now you and I both know that Arkansas is not going to go down to Baton Rouge and beat the Tigers in 2 weeks. But if they were somehow, some way scraped together a win for Missouri, you remember how Ed Orgeron was just thought as the interim, and then he kind of scraped some wins together, and then eventually became the head coach. What happens if this team rallies around Barry Lundy Jr. and they feel like that there's maybe some potential there? Could he be considered as one of the head coaching candidates at Arkansas?
Well, I mean, Orgeron also had a little more. He had more experience as a head coach. That's the one thing.
Ole Miss,
it didn't go very
USC.
well. Didn't go very well in either case, but still had that experience. But it is the same sort of, connection to the program, connection to the state.
Former
I
player.
don't know what sort of post-game speeches Barry Lundy Jr. gives, or that anybody could give that could rival what you're seeing out of Eddie O in how he seems to
roll tide,
match his players' intensity and even take it up to the 11th degree. Incredible. All right, let's take another couple of calls while we have the chance here. We got about a minute and a half. Russ in Jonesboro, you're next up on the Cherokee Casino Hotline.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Doing good. How are you?
All right, I know y'all get to ask that question a lot. That's a simple question, isn't it? Anyway, what I had to ask was, did they ever talk about anything about keeping Morris to do anything else at the school, at the football team, like recruiting or anything like that? They always bragged on how well he recruited. I mean,
well,
did
his
they ever
son
give him the option, or
decommitted.
they just give him the boot?
Russ, his son decommitted yesterday, so I think he's not going to be doing any recruiting for Arkansas. And I don't think it works that way. I don't think he'd get demoted from head coach to another position.
That's just
I
kind
hadn't
of
heard anybody talking about that.
It's kind of a slap in the face, I would think. I don't think any head coach in college football would take that well if they were asked to step down and kind of be. I mean, perfect example is Houston and Gus Malzahn, because that was what the rumor was, that Houston would go to AD and Gus would take over, but that ended up happening, Phil.
Well, that's a little bit of a different, bent at it. And Russ, we appreciate the phone call. For a coach to step up to AD so that another coach can take over, where have I heard that before? I think that happened at Wisconsin. It worked out well for them when they tried it.
Yeah.
I don't think, it's just, hey, I think it happened at Arkansas too, didn't it? I think it happened a long time back under a guy named Frank. Halftime continues. Connor O'Gara coming on to join us next from Saturday Down South.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio.
Great camping weather is just around the corner, so at Breeden RV in Van Buren, we're having our year-end clearance sale right now. Get great deals on new RVs like travel trailers that start at $99.95 and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives our new customers maintenance for life for free. We also have a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now is the time to camp, and now is the time to let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Breeden RV, your home for maintenance for life.
Oh, that's an RV.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and BF Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and BF Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
Make Awake Boat Sales and Service is not only where you can get your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat, they also carry a huge selection of bait and tackle. Find whatever floats your boat at Make Awake Bait and Tackle. They carry tons of top brand lines of rods and reels and everything you need to gear up your tackle box, from Strike King, Kitech, and Zoom to Sunline and War Eagle products. Make finding your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat an easy catch with Make Awake Boat Sales and Service in Van Buren, 4806 Alma Highway in Van Buren, and MakeAwakeBoats.com.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Protection with possibilities. Have past losses made you cautious about taking on risk with your investments? Are you concerned that your savings are not generating the returns you need? If you are interested in protecting your money and capturing potential investment growth, contact Brad Lewis at United Financial Advisors at 242-7466 or ufadvisors.net to see whether market-linked CDs may be the right solution for you.
Securities and advisory service offered through Royal Alliance Associates, member FINRA, SIPC. United Financial Advisors is a marketing destination.
Hey, this is Ted with Ed Walker's Drive-In. For more than 70 years, Ed Walker's has been the place to go for the best French dips and hand-patted hamburgers in town. Blue Plate Specials served Monday through Friday, and we're still the home of Fort Smith's only 5-pound hamburger. We're open 10 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week. Call ahead for pickup, 783-3352. Ed Walker's Drive-In, 1500 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith, where the legend lives on.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
And he's on in place of the injured Ryan Mallett, and he has been brilliant. 12 of 13. Dude, that one's caught. Touchdown. Whoa, what a rope.
Oh, my goodness.
Joe Adams.
There's not a backup in the country that can throw a ball like that.
Halftime rolling along on a coaching change Monday. And let's go to the Cherokee Casino hotline to get a bird's eye view for what's going on here at Arkansas. And yes, there are other things happening in college football and in sports across the country. Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South. Connor, hi. How's it going?
Well, I'm wondering how the day's been going for y'all, considering the calls that you got last week compared to the calls that you've been getting today. What's the comp like?
Well, it's not angry anymore. Ty, would you say if we were to use one word to describe Saturday's post-game reaction show that we hosted, it was anger, and today it's more interest, actually. And I don't know if I could say interest would be the word we've described for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
It's plane tracking season, boys. That's all it is.
What does Barney Stinson always say? Newer is always better, right?
Yes. Give me the bird's eye view here for what you're seeing at Arkansas, because we're right down here on the ground. You know, we've got the myopia of covering Arkansas and every movement for the football team. From the larger perspective, what are you seeing right now?
Seen a lot of names that are being thrown out there, some of which are more realistic than others. It seems like the group of 5 candidates are pretty obvious. You know, the Mike Norvells, Bill Clarks, even Willie Fritz is somebody from Tulane who's getting some interest, and somebody who I'm seeing people talking about a little bit more. And then there's the big names, the splash names, the names that would sell a lot of tickets early on, would be interesting, fascinating from a national perspective, and would move the needle in a way that those other group of 5 names would not. Maybe a little bit of a tougher sell, just after what obviously Arkansas fans went through with Chad Morris. But, you know, Mike Leach is the guy that I'm kind of rallying behind in terms of the most attractive candidate, somebody who obviously has been in obscure places. Not to say that Fayetteville is obscure per se, but I think that just somebody who isn't afraid to kind of get out of his comfort zone, don't know what his future at Washington State holds now that Bill Moose has moved on at Nebraska, the guy who originally hired him. He's back riding bikes in Florida. So I would never rule that out. Obviously, for Arkansas, they would love to be able to get somebody like Leach. Lane Kiffin's the one that every time there's an SEC opening, I think every SEC fan wants it to be Kiffin. But I don't know if he's quite willing to take on a rebuild quite like that when he's obviously already a household name. He's already out there. He's already going to be on a lot of different lists. And I don't know. I mean, Gus is the one that is also really intriguing just because everybody knows the way that this went down 2 years ago, and could this unfold again where he has another opportunity to look at this job and say, maybe this is where I should be making my money, kind of getting away from this high-pressure Auburn situation. I don't know that he can walk away from that per se, but he's certainly an interesting candidate that Arkansas fans would obviously rally behind in a hurry, I think.
The thing that's kind of crazy about what the next coach, it's not about what he inherits. It's the expectations that he's got to meet, and that's just not to be Chad Morris. You know, it's not to get embarrassed by Western Kentucky. It's not to lose at home to North Texas. It's to be competitive in games that you lose in the SEC, not routinely get blown out by 30. These were the expectations I think you had for Chad Morris. The next coach, you're inheriting a bar that's already so low.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's the difficult thing for whoever comes in is that they have to take a long, hard look at this and say, do I have the energy to do this? At whatever stage in my life, my career that I'm in, this is not going to be an easy thing. And this division is just, I question how far Arkansas can really fall off of what they have already, been at. I think that this recruiting class that Chad Morris is putting together for the 2020 cycle, I guess you would call it, we're seeing members of it, fading and decommitting by the hour, it seems like, and understandably so. I mean, if you go to Arkansas, you want to play for Chad Morris. He was able to recruit, obviously, a really solid class last year that surprised a lot of people. But, you're pretty much at the bottom in terms of you can't really get much worse than this in terms of the on-the-field product. So how much further can Arkansas really fall? And you got to think that, you can hire somebody that can do more with the talent that's out there already. We don't know what the roster attrition is necessarily going to look like if they're going to lose some of these big, high-profile recruits that they got in the 2019 class. But I'm fascinated to see that the way this all shakes out and who Chad Morris, wasn't able to develop and what does the quarterback situation look like going forward. I think there are just a lot of different layers to this that we're going to see unfold in the next month.
We're speaking with Connor O'Gara on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Connor, at one point in time, Ed Orgeron was the interim at LSU. Eventually took and was given the head coaching job, and as of this Saturday, it's proved to be a good, if not great, hire. So Arkansas is now in a situation where Barry Lunny Jr. played at Arkansas, has been given the interim job. They got to go to Death Valley next week, and then they'll play in their season against Missouri and Little Rock. Any chance that this team rallies behind Barry Lunny Jr. and that he's at least given consideration for the possible head coaching job at Arkansas?
I don't think so, just because you got to look at this from Hunter Yurachek's perspective, right? I mean, he's somebody who made the Chad Morris hire, and had he not been proactive in firing Chad Morris, there's a chance that it could have cost him his job. That's ultimately how we define coaches in this day and age. And I understand that the Musselman hire is also something that he gets credit for, but we're talking about the football program here, the big-time money maker. That's the way that this works in 2019. Is he really going to say, you don't get to hire 3 football coaches. That's usually the rule for an AD. You don't get that many chances. Is he really going to hitch his wagon to an interim? Somebody who finishes the season looking, with it really, okay in a small sample size. I highly doubt it. We would have to see something unprecedented for that to happen. And I think that being a repeat of 2016 LSU just doesn't seem likely. Ed Orgeron had a much bigger sample size. Les Miles went 2-2 that year and had the rest of the year to kind of figure things out, and that's what ultimately he was able to do down the stretch and gain enough momentum. And let's be clear, they still offered that job to Tom Herman, and ultimately those negotiations with Joe Oliva fell apart, and that's why Ed Orgeron was able to get that job. But yeah, I think the sample size is too small, and I think the risk is too big for Hunter Yurachek to want to do that.
Connor, let's talk about the Alabama-LSU game, one of the best games we've seen in quite some time, not because of just the talent of the two teams, but because the game it was played. Like, the offense output was incredible that game. Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that game was spectacular. After that performance Saturday afternoon in Tuscaloosa, is the Heisman Trophy Joe Burrow's to lose?
He's the clear-cut favorite. I don't think it's decided yet, and I wrote beforehand, I think that we have a tendency to crown these guys too early, and as we saw last year where Kyler Murray has the great Big 12 championship, Tua has the dud in the SEC championship, gets hurt in the fourth quarter. If you had asked me before that week, I would have said Tua's going to win the award, no question about it. But these things often go down to the wire, and I think that Joe Burrow is still set up really, really well to be able to finish the season strong against some favorable matchups and be able to only build on what he's done so far. So, at this point, I'd be surprised if he lost it. But I do think it's far from over. We're talking about guys like Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts who still have a chance to potentially get into the playoff and do so, leading teams that look really, really good. And they put up some big-time numbers, obviously. So, if LSU were to have a trip up against A&M before the SEC championship, you never know kind of how this can all shake out. But at this point, I wouldn't necessarily be if I'm picking here today, I'm not picking anybody besides Joe Burrow unless I'm getting really good odds on it.
Connor, we got one more minute here, and the other big game, of course, is Minnesota, with perhaps the biggest win in that program's history, beating Penn State, and 3 games left. PJ Fleck now with a new contract extension. Things are riding high for the Gophers. Are you buying the Gophers now? You think they'd have a shot if they win out to challenge Ohio State in a Big Ten championship?
No, I don't think they're going to go to the playoff, but I think they're going to go to a New Year's Six Bowl, and I'm more of a believer now than ever in PJ Fleck and what he's building. I think he's quieted a lot of doubters. Having said that, I saw the rumors to Arkansas floating out there about him as a potential candidate. That ain't happening. It's just not. And anybody that's seriously considering that, they're off their rocker. I think that PJ Fleck has something different, has an identity up at Minnesota. It wouldn't make sense for him to go to Arkansas, considering what he left on the table when the market was there for him in 2017. So, yeah, I'm more of a believer now after seeing what they did against Penn State. Man, that offense is efficient. They got big offensive linemen. They can push some people around. Minnesota's going to be a tough out. They're going to give Ohio State everything that they can handle, I think. I wouldn't necessarily pick Minnesota to win that game, but I think people are taking them a lot more seriously, and understandably so.
Connor, always appreciate your time, your perspective on what's going on here. Thanks so much, and we'll talk about it next week.
Appreciate it, guys.
Connor O'Gara, editor, columnist, Saturday Down South, covering the SEC, also Saturday Tradition, covering all things Big Ten. One more segment coming up here on Halftime. We want your calls and your texts. The Cherokee Casino hotline open for you, 877-377-6963. We had Hunter Yurachek on the stage earlier, speaking to the media and announcing the change in leadership. Barry Lunny Jr. was up there with him, and the former Razorback now taking over as the interim head coach. Halftime coming back, a cherry on the top right after this.
Good coaches win. Great coaches cover. You're listening to Halftime.
Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative is excited to introduce Wave Rural Connect. They're bringing state-of-the-art high-speed fiber internet plus TV and phone services right into the homes of all members. If you're an Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative member, go to waveruralconnect.com to sign up. That's waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
What do you get when you pull into Tony's Tire Service? You get the best selection of tires for any car, truck, or commercial vehicle. Tony's Tire Service has Cooper tires and is ready to serve you to get you back on the road safely. They'll also get your vehicle fixed with brake replacements plus an alignment with the best repair guy in the area. Tony's Tire Service has been serving the River Valley for over 34 years. Come let our guys replace your tires with Cooper tires and our service department to make sure the vehicle has the best brakes and alignments. Tony's Tire Service, 7200 South 28th Street in Fort Smith. Service you can depend on.
If football is being played, TGI Fridays in Fort Smith is the place to watch and enjoy, no matter the day of the week or time of the day. TGI Fridays has the game on and all your favorite beers, drinks, and appetizers, including $2 draft beers, $5 pitchers, and $3 specialty drinks, plus delicious appetizers like loaded cheese fries, boneless wings, skillet queso, and lots more for only $5. Football, food, and fun all day long. If it's game day, it's TGI Fridays, I-540 and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
Your voice lets him know he's safe. Shelter Insurance does the same for you. Roadside assistance provided by Road America is now included with your auto policy. We'll take care of you. Thank you. While you take care of what's most important. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask shelter agents Marsha Cox or Phil Hicks about a free insurance review.
Have you been looking for your next place to call home and just haven't found the right one? Then it's time to check out the properties at Trinity Multifamily. With a variety of apartments, duplexes, townhomes, and houses, there is surely one to fit your needs. Whether it's in the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas, or Central Arkansas that you are looking at, they have you covered. Give them a call today. Trinity Multifamily, 479-452-1817. That's 479-452-1817. Or online at trinitymultifamily.com to search rental properties near you.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources. Fall is my favorite time of the year. Football, fine weather, and my chance to flip the lot. We're out to sell every single car in our Rath Road Ready inventory and flip the lot during our fall clearance. That's right, every vehicle must go. To make it happen, we're discounting our entire inventory with savings up to $4,300 below retail. Even our special purchase vehicles are included. like 2018 Hyundai Elantra SELs for only $13,991. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in our Meineke Car Care Center with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires and 50% off brake pads. Don't miss out on the savings. Help us flip the lot. Get the Rath Road Ready vehicle that's perfect for you and save up to $4,300 during the fall clearance at Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed independent dealer, Rath Auto Resources, and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online at rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
Hey dads, do you have an athlete in your house that is looking to take their skills to the next level? Excel Speed Training at the Fort Smith Athletic Club has the proven results to maximize your athlete's potential. Designed for both male and female athletes of all ages and various sports to improve mobility, endurance, agility, and vertical jump. Take your game to the next level with Excel Speed Training. Call Mike Johnson at 479-926-0193. That's Mike at 479-926-0193 at the Fort Smith Athletic Club.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
On first down now, Boyd the call. Cuts back across the 40. Rakeem to midfield. To the 40. To the 30. To the 20. He's going to the house. Rakeem Boyd for a touchdown.
Don't forget, you can download your Halftime podcasts later on, sometime between 2:20 and 3 o'clock. We'll be putting together highlights from today's show, many calls, and maybe even some sound from the press conference with Hunter Yurachek and Barry Lunny Jr. It is brought to you by Jeff's Clubhouse. You can find it anywhere you download your podcasts. I usually use my Apple Podcast app, but plenty of places, Spotify, TuneIn Radio. You can also download it at hitthatline.com. We've been reacting to the press conference all throughout the show. We can continue for the next 10 minutes or so. 877-377-6963 is our Cherokee Casino hotline. Let's go to that hotline right now. Robbie in San Diego. Robbie, before you get into your talk here, I want to thank you for your service here on Veterans Day.
Hey, I appreciate it, Phil. Hey, first things first, happy Veterans Day to all those who have served and those who currently serve. Being proud to serve, and being a Razorbacks fan is awfully humbling at times. First of all, Chad Morris's departure was timely. I think, as Hunter Yurachek said, he kept using the word runway, but I think it's true. We needed a little more space between now and the time in which signing day comes along. I firmly believe he'll find the right guy. I don't like the speculation that people keep talking about Houston Nutt, Bobby Petrino, and Gus Malzahn and all that. I think he probably, in my gut, believe that Hunter Yurachek's going to go in a different direction. I think he's going to find somebody that's going to be passionate, energetic, and that's not going to bounce from Arkansas to somewhere else and use us as a stepping stone. I think that whoever he finds is firmly going to want to be a coach in the SEC and has some, experience. I think he hit a home run with Musselman. No one saw that coming, and I believe that, and then getting Jordan Weaver for the gymnastics program was, who saw that coming? But, I think good times are going to come. Barry Lunny is the right guy, because I remember that 92 season, and things looked pretty terrible. And, they didn't look very good in 93 either, but, ultimately they began to progress, and we started getting better. But, I wanted to come in and call in and give you my 2 cents, man, because I think that I've been calling for Morris to be gone since we lost to, freaking San Jose State, because it was a downhill trend. And it was interesting to hear Hunter Yurachek talk about how after the loss to Mississippi State, he sat down with Chad Morris in the Sunday conversation. It was basically like, it's very important that we have a good week against, Western Kentucky, something to that effect. Not really, I don't think any of us really understood that, hey, chips are on the table, and you better have a good performance against Western Kentucky. Went out and laid an egg against another non-SEC opponent. Frustrating, but now we can put the frustration behind us, look for brighter times ahead, try to keep our roster intact, and recruit some players to come in and help the Razorbacks win. So.
It was a good call there, Robbie. And I thought it was also interesting, too, how Hunter Yurachek pointed to the second half against Kentucky is where things really, really started to get bad for Arkansas. Couldn't hold that lead against the Wildcats after fighting against Texas A&M the week before. Might have still had the hangover from the San Jose State loss, but ever since the second half against Kentucky, Arkansas just has not been even a competitive football team. And that was the other thing, Ty, that Yurachek touched on, that you knew this change was coming because this no longer was a competitive football team. The sum was not greater than the parts, and it should have been. A good coach in the right situation doesn't lose those players, still is able to inject some belief into them, and it was obvious it wasn't there any longer. And the idea of Houston Nutt, becoming the coach again, I have a tough time buying it. I think it's been a long time since he's been a head coach, and I think the idea of his motivation of being a Razorback, all of that, I don't know if that necessarily means that he's the right guy for this coaching position right now.
I'm just not a huge fan of retreads, and I know some people will say, well, Bill Snyder, Kansas State, Mac Brown being back at UNC. I just don't think that you ever max out potentially of where you could be as a football, basketball, baseball program, whatever, when you retread a head coach, because typically most of the time you know what you're getting in that guy. You know where the program is going to be with him, and that might be better than where it is now. And I think most of us listening to the program right now believe that Houston Nutt will take the program to a better place than Chad Morris had it. But does that mean it's necessarily the right hire? Does that necessarily mean it's the right guy? I don't think it's the case. I believe what Robbie said 100%. I think Hunter Yurachek is going to go out and make a hire of who he wants, who he thinks is the right guy, similar to what he did with Eric Musselman. And it might not be like, I don't know if it's necessarily, and we have this conversation all the time, you don't necessarily have to have someone with Arkansas in their blood, Phil. That idea, that mindset, I think is just so old-fashioned. You just have to hire a good football coach that has a high ceiling that you think will succeed at Arkansas.
And somebody that buys into being a Razorback and buys into being an Arkansan. And the more that I'm presented with some of the difference in statements from Chad Morris, I don't know if he ever, and I agree with you now that I'm looking back at this, he never really bought into being an Arkansan. And he's preaching family to the team and to the incoming recruits while keeping his family in Dallas, and going back there all the time, living in an empty house here, in Fayetteville of over $4 million. Those two things didn't really jibe very well. It's tough to preach family when you don't have your family where you live.
Going back. Well, that goes back to the idea he didn't want to uproot Chandler's.
Yeah, and it's understandable too. I think you're right. We went through all of that. Hacker and Harrison had an interesting idea, and I want to know some of these under-the-radar names that I don't know if I'd be aware of. He says, what about Chip Long, offensive coordinator at Notre Dame, who was a Razorback assistant under Bobby Petrino? I think those are some of that's a kind of coach that maybe gets a look from Hunter Yurachek, because I think he'll leave no stone unturned. You know what I mean? I think he'll look at coaches with a long track record, look at up-and-coming young head coaches, and maybe even look to offensive, to coordinators that are doing a good job and might be the right time for them to take a leap forward.
I am curious to see, and folks listening, I think this process is going to take quite some time. You're not going to know the next head coach within the month of November. I'd be shocked if you knew it until the end of December, maybe January. I mean, this is going to be a long, drawn-out process where you're going to be frustrated because you'll keep hearing names, you'll keep seeing things pop up in the news, and there won't be a coach announcement yet. But I think we often have to preach patience in a number of different things. This is a time where Arkansas fans have to be patient, and if you truly believe Hunter Yurachek is the right guy for the job, and is the right AD to lead this program forward, then you have to trust him, and you have to trust the decision makers around him. And I know that's going to be hard. I know it's going to be difficult after what you just went through with Chad Morris, but egging him on, pestering, and doing a number of different things to try and figure out who the next head coach is, it was pretty air vacuum tight. It was pretty air shield tight with Eric Musselman. Phil, would you say that's a pretty fair assessment?
It was, until we saw the red smoke coming out of the Bud Walton Arena photo and that famous tweet. So I guess the next time we see red Pope smoke coming out of the Broyles Center, we'll know that there's a new head coach. I don't think it'll take until January, but I mean this will go until the end of the football season. Isn't when the coaching search starts, but that's when it starts to become more realistic that a name will be announced sometime soon. I think you'll have somebody in about a month. I think it'll take about 4 weeks. I think you have the head start. You don't want this to go into January because there's still a little time. Maybe if you get a hire in about 4 weeks, that you can focus on the kids that are still here, try to get them to stay, maybe keep some of the recruits that have already signed up, and already your signing class is low, so you're going to have to do what you can. I don't think you got to bring somebody in at least before the Christmas holiday, to get things jump-started in some way. Boy, it has been a crazy, crazy day, and I'm sure this will be the topic of conversation for the next few weeks. But there are other things to get to. Ty, do you want to hold on to 3 up, 3 down, or should we barrel through this? We have less than 2 minutes, I guess.
I think we better hold on to it, Phil. I don't know if we'll be able to fly through, but I guess we should touch on a few Arkansas news. We haven't touched on this yet. Moses Moody, top 40 kid, has committed to Arkansas over the weekend. He was in the Little Rock gym, and that I'm drawing a blank on, but him and his buddies threw together a video, and he ultimately decided that he is coming back home to Arkansas. So big get for Eric Musselman. You'll have Devontae Davis, who will be signing soon. I think Moses is undecided if he's going to sign the early sign period or if he's going to wait to sign just during the regular signing period. But 2 guys right now committed of the Fab 5. We'll see if the other 3, Jalen Williams, Chris Moore, and KK Robinson, ultimately decide to end up with them as well.
Isn't that an interesting Saturday? You knew there'd be a coaching. The rumors were flying around Saturday in the evening, right at the same time that everybody was celebrating Moses Moody's announcement that he'll be an Arkansas Razorback. So that does remind you that there are better things going on right now than football at Arkansas. You got the Eric Musselman radio show tonight, Eric Musselman Live at Sassy's Red House. That's right here on ESPN Arkansas at 7 o'clock. Ruskin and Zach will lead you into that from 3 to 6, and then they'll play highlights of the show from 6 to 7. I got women's basketball. Mike Neighbors' team looking to go to 2-0. That's later tonight, 7 o'clock, playing McNeese State. And then North Texas invades Bud Walton Arena tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, in Game 2 of the Eric Musselman era. And all of that, of course, right here on ESPN Arkansas, save for the women's game. You don't air the women's basketball games. All right, that'll do it for this crazy Monday. We're expecting crazy Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as well, right, Ty?
Yeah, this should be an interesting week. It's plane tracking season, baby. I just can't wait to keep bringing up where they play in the next NA, where they're going, where they're coming from, and all that these next few weeks, Phil.
Maybe I can help you out next time I'm flying out with women's basketball. We'll see. Didn't work during the baseball season. And you, by the way, you got to get some sleep.
Thanks,
work on
buddy.
that voice, work on that illness. Yeah. Ty's not feeling so good, but he's pounding through it, grinding away. We'll grind away tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in. For Ty, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.
Looking for a bit of cowboy?